Thank you guys for listening. Welcome to the PRA podcast. I am your host, as always, Sam, and it's been a while. And I apologize. It was getting real difficult to maintain everything for a little bit. That's really the main reason why I sort of hadn't been posting. For those of you guys who do follow, and you guys notice that, not a lot of content was coming out on any of these channels. It's mostly just due to the fact that I've been going through a lot of different things in my own personal life, and I was, believe it or not, questioning whether or not I even wanted to do this stuff anymore. It just came down to that. But honestly, what I can say is, from everything that I'm about to explain, I did come to some realizations. But I do love doing this stuff, is what I realized too. Um, but just to start it off, I think the last few episodes were getting a little weird and rough around the edges, to say the least. And essentially, they were just my Facebook lives, like these right here, sort of stripped down just to the audio. And those were my last few podcast episodes. So, few changes for everything. And then, well, first let me kind of get into everything about what I've been going through. I think the last time that I was doing my Facebook Live podcast things, I was at the car dealership and I was selling cars. No longer the case. The thing with that was, so I started in October, and coming around like November, one thing that I started to realize was the environment in which it just is in general. I didn't realize a lot of different things. And when I started to, really pick out my own value system and really sort of disassociate with certain values that were trying to be instilled and branched in me, the conflict sort of started to, I could feel the conflict. And one thing that I do know, is how easily stress can kill you. So one thing that I did was I started doing what I felt was right, started reaching out. And um, honestly, like, that's one of the realizations that I had, was I did find something that was more suitable, but it was less pay. And so one thing I'm going to get into is the realization of how money doesn't actually motivate me. Um, but aside from that, yeah, I was getting really stressed out with the whole car dealership thing and finding, customers and all this stuff. And I was trying to do that on top of finding, interviews for the podcast, on top of trying to create all the content for the podcast, on top of trying to do all the other things that I wanted to do as well. And then, in the midst of all that, having to deal with everything, with my son, because I still haven't seen my son since before September. There's just been a lot of things that I've been having to deal with. And recently, my two grandparents, my grandpa-in-law had just passed away this past Sunday, and my other grandpa is not doing so well either. So I've been having to deal with those um, steady declines, and then just having to deal with everything else. So essentially, not to sound so jumbled, um, what the way that it kind of went and played out was, I hadn't seen my son. I needed a job. Got a job. Started getting like all my stuff taken out, everything. Um, then I realized that it just wasn't for me. So I found another job, and now I really enjoy what I do. The pay isn't great, but I am not stressed out every day. And it took a little while, but now, kind of almost 3 months in, one thing that I'm realizing is now I actually do have time to do this stuff. I actually do have time to look for the interviews and do this the right way. I might not have the money to back it up right now, but I do have all of the time to continue what I was doing before. And so I am going to be writing a sequel version to my book, Jericho's Journey. For those of you who have never checked it out yet, Jericho's Journey by me. I'm going to be trying to do the whole children's book thing. And then on top of that, another thing that I'm going to try and be doing is well, I mean, I've been doing the music, but I'm going to keep trying to get into the music. I actually was thinking about the fact that, like, I kind of want to maybe try and do an official, like, music video this year at some point. That would be actually pretty cool. Other than that, though, um, that's kind of just what I've been planning. And so now I actually have the time to do it. So I'm going to be kind of presenting you with more podcasts like this and be sort of easing back into the routine of everything. So please, bear with me on that, but I will be getting back into everything. And then I'm just going to be doing a better job of actually, believing in what I'm saying and doing and achieving and stuff, and not selling myself short, because I think that was a big issue that I was having too, was I kept thinking nobody cared, nobody cared, nobody cared. But in the end, I didn't really push myself and push the belief in myself as well, not to the extent that I know that I could. And I think it's important that you have to believe in yourself, because if you don't believe in yourself, nobody else will. But essentially, I'm going to try and do a lot better at doing the things that I've set out to do, pretty much. So with that being said, interviews are open right now. So if you want to be on the show, please let me know. Reach out to me in any form on any of these mediums, on any social platforms. Please reach out to me. Let me know if you want to do an interview so we can talk about what it is that you do, who you are, all that good stuff. In addition to that, if you have not already, please join the PRA network. I am going to be more active in there now. I'm going to be starting to do a live every single day. So I'm going to do a live every single day, just sort of breaking down my day, like what I'm going to be doing that day, sort of how I'm staying and keeping myself motivated and sort of encouraged to keep going. Because I have been facing a lot of adversity. I've been facing a lot of doubt. I've been facing a lot of this stuff. And I think that it would be important to almost create like a daily live show to interpret how I go about my every mornings, to kind of give me fuel. And even if I do feel down, I'll still record and be like, you know what, guys, like, feel pretty down today, but I'm going to continue to push and strive. And just be open, like a video diary every day. One thing that I've been seeing that one thing that I realized through it all, even with like discounting my book. So in general, first off, if you guys haven't already heard about the book, it's about self-awareness. It's about finding a model and a routine that works for you, finding your own system, essentially, and it includes a short story, which is Jericho. He goes through all of these different things, all of these different experiences, only to come to the conclusion that it's about every step. It's about the process. It's about the journey. It's about finding yourself throughout life, not about reaching this goal. And so that's what I came to the realization and the conclusion in. So I discounted my book. And what's funny is I did that, and I started to realize when I was at the dealership that like the amount of flow that was coming in. So I got asked the question, how much money do I want to make per month, right? Like, how much money is ideal for me per month? And I couldn't think of a number. And I thought that was kind of odd. And I was like, why can't I think of a number? And I realized that you have to be specific, right? But one other thing that I did realize was it's not important to me, the number. So I had to really focus in on what it is that I'm doing every day, because what I was doing essentially was trying to get money from people every single day. And that's not what it's about for me. I mean, it might be what it's about for Grant Cardone. It might be what it's about for you. It might be what it's about for other people, getting that paper, like getting that bag, getting that check. But for me, if I'm killing myself to get it, it's not worth it. And for me, the values Hence, the values behind why I do what I do and the fulfillment that I get in doing what I do for other people, I think trumps any amount that I can get on a check. And I think that's why I let so many people, quote unquote, take advantage of me when it comes to that scenario. Because I don't see it as taking advantage. I don't see it because the money to me, like, and maybe that's again, like I've said this plenty of times, and I even have a blog about it on Medium. If you guys don't already read my blog, I do write a blog on Medium, and I'm gonna start being more active on there. But you guys can always read my thoughts on there as well. But I do talk about my relationship with money and how it's so kind of fragile. I don't really have a good relationship with money because I either try to save it, or I just don't spend it, or whatever the case is. So it's hard to take calculated risk because of my I guess, my relationship with money. But in the end, it's funny because, like, as long as I have the money, obviously you need money. Don't get me wrong. Like, you need money, you need to make money. But my thing is, like, I don't need insane amounts of it. Like, I want to make a difference, but I more so want to make an impact that is absolutely free. Like I want to be able to touch somebody on a deeper level so that it's not about spending money. It's not about getting money. It's about something deeper than that. It's about being who you are in a world where it's so easy to act like you're somebody else for some other people, or to act like somebody else for somebody else. We always feel as though we have to put on like this facade to appease others' opinions or to appease ourself, and not deal with the judgment from other people's opinions and stuff. And I know that I was a victim of that for a while, and I still get into that mode. And so that is sort of like another realization that I came to. And that's why, with given the whole thing that I was talking about with the lives, I want to start interpreting a real life sort of perspective and portrayal of what I go through every day. Like, I wake up normal, like, you know what I mean? And one of the things that I realize is, like, now I'm happy. Like, I don't need a lot of money or anything, but I need to just be able to pay specific things. Like, as long as I can make a child support payment, or as long as I can just pay the gas bill, pay the water bill, I realized that I'm happy once, like, all the bills are paid. I don't need all this extra six-figure income to travel all the time and stuff like that. Like, it's just not that's not me. Like, I love saving for vacations and all that stuff. And I mean, granted, I've never had a taste of what that feels like, but at the same time, I also feel like there's some of us who just, like, specifically aren't those people to get everything. You know what I mean? Like, it's foolish to think that, like, every single one of us can get every single thing that we strive to be, or, like, be anything that we strive, like. And even, I think even Gary Vee has said that before sometimes, and other people have said that, like, you've got to just know what's good for you. And that's what took me a long time. uh my cat's going crazy. um and that's what took me a long time, is figuring out what's good for me, because everybody's tricking me into thinking that, like, I need to do this for the check. I need to do this, like, for excess amounts of money, like, because we need to go on 15 vacations a year, otherwise that's not making it. We need to have an expensive car, otherwise that's not making it. We need to have name brand shit, otherwise that's not making it. Like, and that's the thing that I disagree with, because I think that making it is being 100% spiritually, physically, mentally, um, fit and healthy, and also having healthy relationships, and at least, like, having a purpose for yourself. um, I always think that people sell themselves short because they don't take the time to really reflect and think of, like, why they're special and why they're perfect. And I wrote a song which is what I'm going to get into right now next. I wrote a song called Imperfect, but it's spelled I'm Perfect. And the way that it goes is like, um, it's just maybe like you're just forgetting something. Maybe you are imperfect, right? Like maybe you are imperfect, but you're forgetting an apostrophe in between the I and the M. And you need to think about it as I am perfect because those imperfections are exactly what make you perfect, essentially. And and so that's another thing too is I came to the realization as well over these past few months and all this other life, death, like stuff. Like I came to the realization that life is precious and you've got to live it to the fullest. You've got to understand that like we only have so much time. Even with the Kobe death, R.I.P. Kobe, the legendary Kobe. Even through that, you've got to take audit and just know what's important in life. And so that's why I started doing the music again because I'm really like I love it so much. I even got a message on Instagram, which I was very surprised about, on one of my songs, I guess, and they were just like, "Well, what are your plans like for your music and stuff?" And I'm just like, honestly, bro, like I just love music, and nobody's really ever pushed me to like be like, "Oh, you need to really get this out there." So until that happens, I've just been kind of just putting shit out randomly on SoundCloud, um, and now I'm just kind of thinking, I love it, and so I released. Sam IV, which is SMIV. Uh, and then I also released SMIV2, which essentially is like the second version of that. And that basically, they're basically like different points of growth in my life. And there's going to be, it's two of a 4-part series. So I'm going to have a 4-part series just because of the fact, I'm the fourth. So I have 2 parts out now. Um, and so if you get a chance, go check them out. Just let me know what you guys think. I would really appreciate it. And if you do mess with it, please just either repost it or share it with somebody, at least one person that's like reciprocating that you actually sent it to them. That would mean the world to me. And let me know which one is your favorite if you do listen. Other than that, though, I mostly just wanted to get on here and sort of explain what I've been going through. And then I wanted to talk about future plans for sort of PRA and the network and stuff. And um, so that's what's been going on with me. Um, check out the music and share this podcast as well. And don't forget to get the book. I'm going to start pushing the book now a lot. You can just order it on Amazon. You can just go to Amazon. Um, it's just called Jericho's Journey. I talk about, like, I'll go over sort of the table of contents. So the table of contents, like the first part is all about cycles and how, just like photosynthesis, the water cycle, we all go through ups and downs, highs and lows, peaks and valleys. It's all a circle. And when you can interpret that, you know that even when you're feeling low, you're not going to feel low for too long because the high is just right around the corner. Um, the first part is part 1, and it's about mental health. Part 2 is physical health. Part 3 is spiritual health. Part 4 is relationships, and part 5 is purpose. So remember, I was telling you, I believe in healthy mentality, physicality, spirituality. Healthy relationships, healthy. Like feeling like you have a purpose and knowing what that is and defining it, and then incorporated with this is a short story. So Jericho goes through the Atacama Desert, which is the driest place on Earth, and they are named by the actual. It's a ultra marathon, so that means it's like I think it's 5. It's literally 5 stages of a marathon. I think it's 7 days long. You guys can look it up. You guys can YouTube it. Literally, facts. And so the first one's navigation by rock, and then there's the slot canyons, the Atacamenos Trail, the Salt Flats, and the Long March, and then there's the final footsteps. So I think it's like a 6-part race actually. And then there's gratitude for today, momentum for tomorrow, energy for the world, empathy for others, and awareness for ourselves, which is my mantra. So, boom. Yeah, get your copy today. Just go to Amazon Books, type in Jericho's Journey. You guys can even see I incorporated my potential reach and aggression. Um, but do me a huge favor, read it. It's a very easy read, very easy to digest. And that short story is pretty cool too. And I'm going to be writing a sequel to this book, surprise, here soon, and releasing it soon as well as my children's books. I'm trying to get more into those also. But go listen to music and check out the book, guys. But other than that, as far as the PRA network goes, like I said, I'm going to be doing lives every single day, and then I'm going to be doing an intro video because I never did it. Back when I was at the dealership, I kept talking about like, hey, I'm going to do an intro video so I can encourage other people to do intro videos, and and actually get everybody going, like back and forth conversation. So it's not just like people posting all their shit and seeming like it's spammy. That's one thing that I don't want it to be, guys. So do not spam the group with your stuff. Just simply like if you need help with anything, or you guys just want to wish people well, or you guys want to talk about like your day, or you guys want to talk about like giving people some advice, please feel free. But it's the PRA network. You guys can just look it up in your groups or whatever. You guys can search for it. It'll be there. Because I ultimately, like, I realized, like, ultimately what I want it to be is like a platform for whether it be like stay-at-home dads, stay-at-home moms, whether it be just entrepreneurs, whether it be just regular people just doing random shit, like who need just inspiration. Because I want it to be a very inspiring and uplifting place for people. I want it to be a sanctuary where people feel safe to open up. That's ultimately what I want it to be. And I was going to go somewhere else with that too. And I totally forgot what I was going to say. But yeah, that's what I want it to be. I want it to be like a foundational piece for people to at least be able to express themselves and be acknowledged for expressing themselves too. Because like I said, you don't need to be all famous and stuff, but if you at least have a few people who mess with your stuff and who like really like what you're doing, it could really push the boundaries and get you really uplifted enough to keep going. But other than that, that's pretty much all that I have. I really forgot what I was going to say. There was one other thing that I think I was going to talk about, and I totally forgot. I spaced it. Dang. But yeah, I appreciate you guys listening. I really, really do. And like I said, you know, if you guys want to get on an interview, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'm going to be more active now. Please share the podcast as well. If you guys enjoy this. I'm trying to. I keep thinking I forgot something because I know I forgot one thing. I know as soon as I stop recording, I'm gonna remember it. It's so funny the way that happens. But I appreciate you guys listening. I appreciate you guys hearing me out. Appreciate you guys, tuning in. Whoever tuned in, I didn't get any comments, so I don't know if it says like I just have 4 alerts, or if like at some point 4 people were watching. But I appreciate you if you do. Other than that, everything's been good. Everything has been good. And yeah. I keep trying to think about what I was going to say. That's the only thing. But all right. Peace out, guys. Good vibes. And don't forget, just because, and like if your day's going bad, just because it's going bad doesn't mean that your life is bad. You know what I mean? Not everybody has everything figured out. They're just the ones that do are just playing it cool and having the confidence to keep going. So just do that. Have the confidence to keep going. The confidence, not the competent. We'll both have the confidence and the confidence to keep going. But most of all, have the confidence to just act like you know what you're doing, even in the midst of it all, and just continue to do what you feel is right in yourself and in your heart, because ultimately that's going to be the key. Good vibes, though, guys. This is going to go up on YouTube So be tuned for that. I'm going to start being more active. Oh, that's what I was going to talk about. So, lastly, this is a fun little tidbit to end on. So, lastly, if any of you guys game, I've been gaming on Call of Duty Mobile. So, if any of you guys have Call of Duty Mobile, or if any of you guys just want to game with me, um, download or want to just game with me, then download Call of Duty Mobile, because I've been playing that like crazy. S Martinez IV, same username as everything else, but it would be dope if you guys added me, play with me if you guys want. But yeah, that was the last thing I wanted to talk about. That's so funny. That's the last thing I wanted to talk about because no, it's fun. I respect the amount of effort and work that they put into everything with it. And it's just, it's a really fun game. So, yeah, good vibes, guys. Remember, have the confidence to keep going. And as always, I appreciate you guys listening. Don't forget to tune in the music. Don't forget to get your copy of the book. Good vibes, potential reach and aggression, gratitude for today, momentum for tomorrow, energy for the world, empathy for others, and awareness for ourselves. Peace.